The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but should be. You're allowed to also like and share them on Facebook because it's time for the African American scene. And it's brought to you by Howard Insurance and hosted by Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. But I'm a tired guy with you here on a Wednesday night. Been going since about 6:30 this morning.
Uh-oh.
I am dragging, but it's good to be with you.
Needless to say, it's been an exciting day. Then.
Yeah, very busy. Made some money, so that's always good. I decided tonight, well, first of all, we're going to have an open forum. Next week, I got a guest coming the night before Thanksgiving, and a very appropriate guest, I might add, but that's next week. But I'm going to start tonight's session, and it's open forum. I don't have an agenda made up. I would assume there's still some carryover. You'd want to talk about the election and some of the protests going on and how that upsets you. And if you do, let's have at it. But let me start with this. This poem by Anaya is called Vanish. Somehow it just seemed to me to be very appropriate. Vanish from me, unsweet memory. Run to another. Do not haunt me any longer. My time is too precious. Your intimidation will no longer prosper. Certain of your plan to perplex my thoughts, there is not a chance. My thoughts are not under your trance. Vanish from me. You don't stand a chance. At this time, focus on another. I am too strong. Leave me be, you ignorant moron. Is that very timely?
Well, sure. And it can fit in so many circumstances and situations.
Yes, it can. I know why she might have wrote it, but it just seems very, very apropos for the moment.
I'll bet you there's a whole lot more women feel that way than you'd think, too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So, listen. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, and I guess if you're a conservative, you got a lot to be thankful for. So, tell me what you're thankful for with this Thanksgiving next week. Tell me how happy you are at the most recent results, how giddy you feel. I'm sure that you feel very, very good. And we have Winnie on line one. How you doing, Winnie?
How you doing? All right, good. I heard on Rush Limbaugh's show program. I just met his show too, and he was saying that them protesters, lots of them, they didn't vote for neither one of them. They didn't vote for nobody. People in Oregon and some of the other people too. They didn't vote for neither one of them. Out of here, either Donald Trump. They didn't vote for nobody, but they out there with them side protesters. He was saying that they get $1,500 a week, or they get paid to do that. Are you familiar with that?
I think that is garbage. It's absolute garbage. I think it's a lie. I think it's an absolute lie. But you know what? That's the talking point that was generated by Trump when he said they have professional protesters. Those protests have been spontaneous. You know, people are just not happy about the result. Now, I will say this. I did not vote for him. This is America.
Yeah.
And he won the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And he won the vote because he got more people to vote for him. Well, not really. He won it because he won the electoral college.
Electoral college.
So, hey, that's the way our system works. And if we didn't like the outcome, we should have had more people come out.
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't vote at all. They sound like neither one of them. They said some of them had called for other people's programs. Sound like neither one of them. I'm not going to vote for nobody. And that's what had happened with some people.
Yeah.
And then some people did went out and vote. But but they say she got beat bad.
No, she didn't.
Trump won Florida.
No, she won the overall popular vote by almost 1 million votes. She won the popular vote. Don't let anybody tell you that. You know, now they start with this crap. They start generating falsehoods to try to justify their position, but no. And don't let anybody tell you there's people out there being paid to protest. Those protests are spontaneous. People are upset. People are disturbed, and he's one. Let me say this to you: if you're elected and you're elected under a cloud of some controversy, it would seem to me the first thing that you would do is try to make some appointments that would tell people that they have nothing to fear. Certainly, that's what Barack Obama did. He made some Republican appointments so that people that were so afraid of which direction that he would go, he assuaged some of those fears. Now, what we're seeing with Donald Trump, he don't care. And he's just making appointments that are further fueling frustration and fear. So...
But why she didn't win though? She doesn't win the other vote like you say, huh? That was really hell about.
Well, she didn't win the electoral.
The other one, the electoral vote.
Yeah, the electoral college. She didn't win the electoral college. That's just the way it works in this country. You know, the electoral college was designed so that small states would not be left without a say-so. And
small states.
Yeah, so the electoral college tries to give balance to the democratic process by allowing small states to have some input in the election process. Now, you know, there's been a lot of controversy about that over the years, and the same thing happened in 2000 when George W. Bush won. Gore won the popular vote, but George W. Bush won the electoral vote. So.
That's what had happened with them during that time frame. But you think they might change that up one day?
Maybe, but I think the small states would object to it. But Winnie, my friend, always glad to hear from you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we have Jim on line too. Yes, sir.
Hey, I love your show. I listen just about every week.
Thank you.
I've got a lot of African-American friends originally from the upper Midwest, and I agree with you on most everything you say, but I got to let you know. I actually have two people that I know, one in Colorado, one in Northern California, and they have been paid to protest. Not the $1,500 like your last guest and what Mr. Limbaugh said, but they do get paid to protest. They get bussed around. They get meals. The signs are pre-made for them. So I agree with you. There's a bit of spontaneity, but don't make no mistakes about it. There's a lot of these people out there, they're getting paid to protest. I'm not going to throw my friends under the bus by calling out their names on a big radio show like yours, but it's true. There's a lot to get paid.
Well, okay. No, all right. So let me retract that then. Where are they getting the money from? Who's paying them?
It's just, I was going to say, a lot of these people, it's just these I guess I don't know the technical term, these corporations that these groups set up, and then they bus people around, and they pay for their meals, and the signs are pre-made. That's what they tell me. That, it's a little side job for them. As long as they got the time to travel, they go place to place, and that's what they do. Very liberal places like Northern California and my buddies in Boulder, Colorado, they've been doing it for years. It's like a side job.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will stand corrected, and I promise you I will research that and find out about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I talk to them about it, we do it in a joking manner because we're all on the same wavelength. We agree in the same thing. But I wish they had that more around here. I could use a few extra bucks.
Okay, all right.
You started out your show saying you made a little money today. Let's all make a little money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And keep up the good fight, my friend.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. You know what I did notice? I did notice when they came out with the first reports, there was something strange about the crowds that they were showing us with the cameras, especially out in California. I noticed that all the protesters, I was looking for diversity in the crowd to try to zero in on who might be wanting to protest, and they didn't look real. They were all, there were no black people. I didn't see any in the news feeds that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
These were protests, and I was seeing tear gas being launched into the crowd in the middle of the street. Like they'll do in an out of control protest situation. They just want them to clear them out of the road, I think. But I thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a few that's going to stand out there and shake their fists, they're going to get all the press. The voters themselves, we all have to sit back and see what happened. But it gets kind of weird out there sometimes. We have to kind of keep our heads cool and focused.
That's for sure. I will say this though. Let me go on record for my listeners. I can't say this strong enough. I strongly object if that is being done, paying people to go out there and protest the election of the president. I strongly protest that. I don't know how to say it any more than I can, and I would not support that in any way, shape, or form. And we got Ralph on line one. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I just wanted to make a comment about that. I've followed social media about these protests, and people are not being paid. Some of the protests are organized. Some of them have provided transportation. You pay for your meals. Maybe somebody is paying for a meal on some event, but all protests are, to one degree or another, organized. There is organization in all protests. That doesn't mean that they're mercenary. One of the, I think, my personal opinion, the reason that they're having these protests is not because they want to change the outcome. What it is, as far as I can see, is a message to the rest of the world and to the people who didn't vote for Trump that not everybody voted for Trump, that Americans are not, 100% behind this fellow. And they're trying to make this message to the rest of the world. And that's what I think that they're doing.
I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. And I think they're attempting to exert some pressure on the administration to not go in to an extreme position. I'm not sure that that's going to work. But I will say this. If you think back to President Obama, and President Obama, he might be a lot of things, but dumb is not one of them. And one of the things he did initially when he built his staff, what did he do? He kept Robert Gates as Secretary of Defense. So what he was saying to the people that were upset about him being elected is that you don't have to fear, because I'm going to continue to do some of the things that you consider normal. Now, so he tried to address some of the apprehensions and fears of people that this black guy is coming into the White House. Now, as far as Trump's concerned, he should be well aware of some of the apprehensions of people as he's moving toward taking over the White House. And quite frankly, he just don't give a damn. That's it. And those actions, I think, have fanned the flames of frustration. Putting Steve Bannon in there is like a punch in the eye. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, and there's also talk that he's considering John Bolton for Secretary of State.
I know.
I hope he does not appoint the walrus.
I hope not too. Well, thank you so much, Ralph.
All righty.
Appreciate you. And we got Curtis. Curtis, how are you, sir?
Hey, Rudy, how you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking my call. What I wanted to comment on was that I read in the Palm Beach Post this morning and it was concerning protests after the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been saying all the while, I mean, it's a little late for that, and that's the same language that the Post used. Like you said a minute ago, I believe, because I didn't hear exactly what you were saying, that they're trying to put it out there that they're not happy with the election, and the president-elect should take notice as to their protest now and cut back on some of the things that he campaigned on.
Yeah.
But my question is, and I've said it too, and I think some of you guests are saying it too, is that especially Winnie, I believe, that a lot of these people, I would imagine, and I hope not, but I think so, are not registered voters that are doing the protest.
That makes me sick, but yes, I think there is some of that for sure.
Yeah, and the thing I look at, Rudy, is that if these people were registered voters, I don't think Hillary would have got the Democratic nomination if they would have voted for the guy that they claimed that they loved so much. But he didn't get the nomination. So that let me know right there that these people that were protesting even then were not registered voters.
Yeah. I know. I think that it's not wrong to protest. I do think we have to try, no matter how distasteful it is, to approach this a little bit with an open mind and to respect the office of the president. Now, I say that when President Obama was disrespected in more ways than you could ever even possibly count, but I still think you have to preserve some respect for the office of president, because it's our country. But I think it is okay for people to express some concerns about the administration in an attempt to try to persuade them or put some pressure on them or modify some of the things that they think they would like to do. That's American.
And with the Republicans having the House, the Senate, and the governors, or the states, that whole task becomes mighty hard, and keeping that party in line now is going to be extremely hard. And the people don't want to vote in the midterm elections, and that's when you get your governors, your mayors, and chief of police, and all of that stuff, which might be more important than the president of the United States.
I think, Curtis, you are on it. One of the things, the prescriptions I heard, I think it was on Roland Martin the other morning, they said we got to get up off our behinds and we got to run for dog catcher, city council, school board, county commission. You've got to get out there, get involved, and get elected to positions that ultimately can have an impact on how things are done within your community and in your state. And I think that's the right message.
Well, I'd like to be one of the ones, Rudy, to say that I'd like to work on your campaign. Just
yeah, we'll all work on Rudy's campaign.
Yeah, and I told you this before that we need you here in Port St. Lucie. We can start right there.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate
all right, thank you.
Okay.
I will not rule that out.
Boy, that sending shivers down the spine of a whole bunch of listeners, I'll tell you that. Let's take a little break. And, folks, that number is 340-1590. That's 340-1590. Don't you touch that dial, because we'll be right back with the African American scene.
You don't want to miss a minute of it.
Hi, it's Rudy Howard from Howard Insurance and Associates. The annual election period is a time frame that allows people over 65 an opportunity to change, modify, or upgrade their Medicare coverage. The enrollment period begins October 15th and ends December 7th, 2016. Beginning October 1st, you can contact me to explore options, but actual enrollment starts October 15th. My number is 772-343-9878. During this time, appointments work best. I will also have hours at Walmart on Gatlin beginning October 18th. We still have great rates for autos, homes, motorcycles, and mobile homes. So if you need insurance, I have solutions. Howard Insurance and Associates, located at 600 Southwest Darwin Boulevard, Suite 206 and 207, Port St. Lucie. Call us at 343-9878.
WPSL presents CBS Storm Track weather with meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg, brought to you this hour by Seacoast Air Conditioning.
Hi there, I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg. Looking forward to a beautiful stretch of weather for the rest of the week. For your Wednesday evening and Wednesday night, you want to take a walk out of doors this evening. Looks perfect with clear skies, temperatures in the 70s. We'll drop into the upper 50s by early Thursday morning. And your Thursday looking pretty good. Look for mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a high of 79. Winds will be northeast at 10 to 15. On your Friday, look for a mix of sun and clouds, continued comfortable and dry. Your Friday high, 79. I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg for WPSL Digital 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Thank you, Michael. And weather this hour has been brought to you by Seacoast Air Conditioning, your hometown air conditioning company since 1982. For repairs or a whole new system, call them at 772-466-2400.
Comfort crisis, don't roast, call Seacoast.
Welcome back to the African American Scene, brought to you by Howard Insurance in Port St. Lucie, and one of those programs you'll want to watch over and over again on WPSLTV.com. Once again, here's your host, Rudy Howard.
And I thank you for sticking with us. And we got Chris on line one. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rudy. How you doing?
Okay.
I just have a couple of comments, and you probably disagree, but I just like to get them out there.
Okay.
I think some of the people that are protesting probably aren't even American citizens. Now, they may be here legally, and that's fine, but if you're not an American citizen, and I might be wrong about this, I don't believe you have the right to freedom of speech. Am I wrong about that? Even if you're not an American citizen?
I think if you're here legally, your freedom of speech is protected. You wouldn't have all of the inalienable rights of a citizen, but I think freedom of speech would be protected if you are here legally.
Okay, I understand that. And another thing, I think, this is pretty radical. The ones that are American citizens, these young kids, these college kids are out there, I think they should have their voting rights suspended for life. They are disrupting a democratic process. And what do they call it? The right to a peaceful transition of power. They're disrupting that, as far as I'm concerned, by blocking our streets.
Okay. I understand your point of view, but what's the alternative if you're angry and frustrated?
Well, then you call the congressman, you call the newspapers. There's several ways, I'm sure. You don't have to go out and protest in the streets and block our traffic. People have to get to work. People need to do other stuff. They have lives, and it's just a disgrace as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I understand. But now let me go back and address something you said a little earlier. That is a kind of a sore point with me.
Okay.
If you didn't come over. If you and your family didn't come over on the Mayflower, you're an immigrant.
I understand.
You understand that, right?
Yes.
You're an immigrant. So when people are so boisterous and dogmatic about immigrants, I would bet you, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I feel real comfortable in saying probably 40% of white America are immigrants, which means they can trace back to a grandparent or a great-grandparent coming here from another country. And so we were very tolerant and accepting of those people And now all of a sudden, it's like no more. And I think that's frustrating. And let me tell you why that's really bothers me. This is the thing, and I've said this before, so if you've listened to my show a long time, you will know that I've said this. When we create this aura of hostility toward Mexicans, that is very troubling to me, and I'll tell you why. There was Mexicans in California before there were white people. There was Mexicans in Arizona before there were white people. There was Mexicans in Texas before there was white people. Mexicans in New Mexico before there were white people. Now, all of a sudden, and you know what I want you to do? Just think about this for a second, Chris. Say you were 6 or 7 or 8 generations Mexican from Arizona, and your family's been here for 8 generations. You own a business here. Your kids grew up here, went to college here, and somebody stops you in the street because you got brown skin. You think it'd piss you off a little bit?
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. And I have, those people have a right to be here in generation and everything. But the laws were different way back then when the people came over on the Mayflower and up into the 1930s and 1940s. And I don't want to. I love the Mexican people. I truly do. They're a wonderful people. The country is beautiful. And I have family members that have spent months there at a time because they love it so much. I haven't had that opportunity. But, I don't know. You got me, Rudy. You got me. But I don't want any harm come to anybody. But I just, the rules are different. I mean,
I know. But, Chris, you know what? I don't want to get you. All I want you to do is when you hang up the phone, sit back in the chair and say, Jesus, Rudy has made me think about something I never had to think about before. Then I got you. If I can make you sit and think, and you say, well, geez, I never realized, when I sit and think about it, he's right. There was Mexicans in California before there were white people. It's not fair to racially profile a person that's been here 9 generations because we now have created a hysteria against Mexicans. Not right.
That's not right. And my true hope, one of my hopes is, I just want to put this out there, is, Donald Trump does good and he's success, and America does good. And one day maybe we can help make Mexico great again so that they won't have to come here for a better life. I mean, that would be really good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for calling.
All right,
and you know what? You can always call up and disagree with me.
Oh, thanks, Rudy. I like your program. Don't always agree, but I find it very entertaining.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and you've heard the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can lead a man to knowledge, but you can't make him think.
Yeah.
But in this show and all of our programs, we challenge you to think. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. And we got Miss O. Miss O, how are you?
Let me push her button there. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Just listening at the show, things that you have said. I love my brethren. I don't like to call people white or Mexican, Canadian, Jamaican, Bahamian, because number one, we are all God's children.
Okay, no argument about that.
Number two, I'm wondering where our world nation is thinking. Here we have a president-elect, regardless to whether we like it or not. This man has been married 3 or 4 times, 3 sets of children, different children. And when President Obama was elected, he questioned and he dogmatically wanted his birthright. Now here he's married to an alien. His wife is not an American. Somebody need to question that. And here where
Put the shoe on the other foot, right?
the mayor from West Virginia really dogmatically
I heard that.
enlisted, or our president wife,
Wait one
Michelle.
second. Wait one second. Cliff, she's going to tell you, if you haven't heard about this, because I know how you feel about the First Lady, let her tell you what this mayor said about the First Lady. Tell her.
Michelle Obama? Okay.
Talking about, now this alien, Trump's wife, comes from Venezuela, wherever she come from, the beauty queen, and talk about the mayor said from West Virginia, oh, it's so good that we're going to have an elite woman in office. I'm tired of seeing an ape in heels. Now, she really belittled our First Lady, which I wish I could really meet her in person because I would like to see what she looks like and the way she really belittled our First Lady.
I'm sorry, Michelle Obama is first class.
Yeah, she's first class, and so is President Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you have money, it doesn't make you right for the position. Now, when I look at Trump's family, it goes back to the KKK and the white supremacists from way back. He denied when Duke came on to say, we're going to support him. And then we got Bannon. You know, Trump is not a politician. And he said many times campaigning, he's a businessman. So our world has Republicans that is full of the House. All of them are businessmen. I am praying to God that God will use our enemies to be our footstools to put us ahead in what this world is coming to. Now, the way Trump really dogmatically belittled President Obama, and I don't wish nothing bad on nobody, but I do pray to God that God will give him something that he's going to have to really think about in what he did during the office of President Barack Obama. And I would like to solicit his wife, Birthright, her, if she is a citizen, I want to see it.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We got Tom.
Looks like Tom
Tom
just missed out. Yeah. Well, he said he was kind of busy doing something, and he was going to try to wait. But
yeah. Well,
but isn't that amazing?
I just have to say, I can't argue with that. I mean, if somebody was to ask to see her birth certificate.
But we know it's a fact, though. She is Venezuelan.
No, I think she's from Europe. I think she's she's from over in Europe, one of the Eastern Bloc areas. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but she's from over there.
It's where they keep the real pretty ones over there.
You know, normally I don't think it's good to be tick for tat, because it only makes things get worse. But I have to say, at this point, Republicans are tough, man. They take no prisoners. And we too often try to capitulate in order to have some harmony, and it only turns around and bites us in the butt. Because I'll just give you an example. For all you people that are out there saying, come on, Democrats, get on board. Don't try to stop the machinery from going forward. I say to you, phooey. The president has over almost 100 appointments that have been tied up in the Senate because they refuse to vote on them, and about 60 of them are federal judges. Did you know that? Did you know there's not a full SEC board because they refuse to nominate the people that he brought forward to fill those positions? Did you know that? And you think there's going to be peace and harmony as we go forward? there's going to be some nasty fights because you guys fought a really nasty fight. You held up everything. You unprecedentedly blocked the president from bringing forth his Supreme Court nominee, who was also appreciated by several members of the Republican Party. It was just, if Obama wants it, it ain't going to happen. Now I'm going to say something else, and I think you've heard me say this before. We will have infrastructure reform in 2017. We will. Because it's not President Obama, and he won't get credit for the jobs that infrastructure creates. And we know infrastructure creates a lot of jobs. And that's the fact. Because President Obama has been trying to get infrastructure approved for at least 3 years. Do you not remember his speech in Cincinnati by the bridge that was in Boehner's home district? Do you not remember that 3 years ago, where he was trying to get infrastructure approved? Now all of a sudden infrastructure is going to be approved. Then you want the Democrats to play nicey. Play nicey, let's all get along. So you punch me in the face and kick me in the stomach and knock me upside the head, and they say, okay, I'm sorry. Now let's sing Kumbaya and go forward. Yeah?
Have you ever tried that? It's effective 50% of the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. See, now, there's people out there listening to me going, oh, yeah, he's got a point. It's going to get nasty, at least. And I really hate obstruction. I hate it with a passion. And I wish we didn't have it. But you know what? We better not roll over, because they made his life miserable. And he's done so much for the country in spite of all the objection. And as much as people talk about failed presidency, there's not a single life in this country that's not better off now than they were when he came into office. You cannot objectively tell me that you are worse off than when Obama began his presidency in 2008. It is impossible for you to tell me that, because it makes no sense, because it's not true. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so if I'm still listening for your thoughts and about the election. I got off on my soapbox there. I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, I did. I did mean to do that.
Yeah, this is your show, Rudy.
Yes, I did.
Get off that soapbox.
Yeah, I did.
And then build you a brand new one and get up there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't mean it. No, yes, I did mean it. I meant to
You
say
wouldn't
everything
have said it
I
if you
said.
didn't mean it. That's the thing people are afraid to do now.
It is.
They're,
It is.
Yeah, afraid to speak their mind.
You know, I don't mind admitting that when I was at the forum and I was on the panel, I asked a question that made people pretty mad. I asked them, there's an FBI report that said white supremacists were infiltrating police departments all over the United States. And I asked the two police chiefs what their opinion was about it. Boy, people got mad at me. They were so mad at me. There was people on the panel that ran from me after that. But you know what? If you've been here as long as I have, and Cliff, you remember this, in Port St. Lucie, when I got here, the Grand Dragon and his clan
all three of them were out there. No,
march regularly.
I'm trying to think of the name of the guy that was always doing that stuff. It always seemed like just a very small group that disappeared.
They did.
They finally dried up.
But you remember, they were there.
Yeah. They had people in the white sheets on US 1 standing there. I don't know if they're holding signs or just standing there to intimidate.
Yes.
And exercising their freedom of speech in a bad way.
And here's the other thing. The people that are new to the area may not remember this. I remember when they held those white supremacist rallies in White City Park. Do you remember that?
Wow.
Yes, they did. So, that's one of those things. And But you say it, and then people go, "Oh, why did you say that?" Why? Because we need to talk about that. You have to wonder to yourself. I know I certainly do. All those people, and I remember back when I first got here, back in '94, one of my good friends, white guy, gave me his phone to listen to a message that the Klan was using to recruit kids in the high schools, masquerading as a Boy Scout troop. I remember listening to that, and I went, wow, there was active recruitment back then, trying to recruit kids in high school into the Ku Klux Klan. Now, so why do I say all that? I say all of that to say, I just wonder, are any of those guys in our police departments? Is that a wild thought?
Well, now it might be wild, but it's not outrageous. It's not. It is not uncalled for, though.
Right.
It's a question that maybe we ought to ask more, because we still see some of the old old ways, the profiling. It still exists.
Yeah.
It's still there, and proudly used.
Yeah.
You know. And
I think that is not an unfair question to ask. It's not. And that certainly is not an indictment on the police chief of Port St. Lucie, who I know very well and happen to think he's a really good guy. But I think it's a legitimate question. And we got time on line one. Yes, sir.
Yes, I was just going to make a comment about something he spoke earlier. I couldn't hold on, so I had to call back. Anyhow, I think the population of America is probably more like 90% immigrants, because there's very few American Indians living in the country.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think they count those.
Well, no. What I'm getting at is...
I got you, Tom. I'm feeling you, yeah.
But the point I want to get to, there's a difference between illegal immigrants and legal immigrants. And, a lot of those ones that came over by the Mayflower or whatever came here legally based on the laws of the time.
Yes.
And the ones that came in through Ellis Island, which my grandparents did, again, were legally invited. So, to compare those who illegally crossed the border, whether it be Canada or Mexico or whatever country, because some of them fly in from foreign countries, that's a different issue. And I think that's the biggest concern, and a lot of news people do not differentiate the difference.
Well,
especially news people.
Yeah, I hear, but the point, you know the point that I was making, right?
No, I didn't hear all the show, so I only heard part of it. I caught your show
Okay, let me repeat it, and my audience, please forgive me for repeating myself, but I need to say this to Tom so he gets the point. What I said, Tom, was one of the reasons why that issue troubles me is people forget there was Mexicans in California before there were white people. There was Mexicans in Arizona before there were white people. There was Mexicans in Texas before there were white people, and Mexicans in New Mexico before there was white people. So there was Mexicans in the United States long before many of the white people that have been here. So wait a minute. So what's my point? My point is, and I touched Curtis with this. The point that I'm making is, if you are 8th-generation Mexican from Arizona, and somebody stops you on the street because you got brown skin, and asks you to prove your citizenship, do you think you might be a little pissed off?
Well, I would say so.
Okay. That's the point.
I don't think most people carry their citizenship documents around them.
I agree. But you just felt my point. You're getting it the same way Curtis got it. When I hit Curtis with that, Curtis was saying, oh, man, I never really thought about you. You're doing this. I can feel you. You're doing the same thing. You're going, well, If a guy's been here 8 generations, to stop him on the street.
No, I don't care if it's 1 generation or 10 generations. The issue is most people don't carry their citizen documents around with them.
Okay, I agree with you. But but just think about that, though. Just think about that, because what I just said is not untrue. You got 8 generations, 6 generations of Mexicans in California and Texas, and now all of a sudden, because we've created this hysteria about immigration, they come under.
No, wait a minute. We're talking about illegal immigration. Immigration.
I understand, but you understand.
So you dropped the word, just like the news people.
No,
they
but
dropped the illegal word.
I understand the illegal part of it, but what I'm trying to get you to see is when you do that in such a broad stroke way, you sweep people up into that dialogue that don't belong there.
Okay, then that's the news' fault for keep saying immigrants and not saying illegal immigrants.
Okay, so you're making it the news' fault.
Right, the news is talking about immigrants and not saying illegal immigrants.
Okay.
So I blame the news for not speaking correctly, which they do constantly. I'm constantly correcting local TV stations about what streets are located in Port St. Lucie.
Okay. So
because they say St. Lucie Boulevard, there is no St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie.
I've heard that too.
And I have called them multitude of times. I even said, "Do I have to send you a map?" No, I'm serious.
That's a good idea.
Because there's St. Lucie Boulevard in Stewart. There's St. Lucie Boulevard in Fort Pierce. There is no St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie.
You're absolutely right.
In fact, the St. Lucie Boulevard we have is in Fort Pierce, and they don't even call it that. They call it Airport Road.
That's right.
Well, it's the same road with 2 different names. If you live in Hialeah, I got a road that has 4 names. So I mean, that's no big deal.
US 1 has a bunch of names.
but I get what you're saying, and I hope I flipped that light switch on for you to think a little bit about what I had to say.
My point is the news is reporting it incorrectly, and it's encouraging people to get this wrong attitude.
Okay.
I blame the news people.
Okay, so you think it's the news people?
The news people for not differentiating between illegal immigrants and legal immigrants.
Okay, all right.
Well, it would imply that they're talking about all immigrants.
No, that's not what they're talking about most of the time.
Right. They're not using the verbiage, yeah.
Okay, Tom. Well, I feel you.
Well, no, this is what bothers me so many times when I hear newscasts. You can assume what they meant, but they don't say what they mean. Just like when they say St. Lucie Boulevard, I'm assuming they're saying Port St. Lucie Boulevard, but it could be St. Lucie West Boulevard. And I've called them. I said, which street are you talking about?
Okay. Point well made. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, take care. Yeah, all right. Thank you for a call.
Wow.
And you know what? Well, yeah, we're getting down to. I want to say something else about an issue that troubles me with the Indians and North Dakota. To me, it doesn't matter whether you want the pipeline. To me, it doesn't matter whether you think we need the pipeline or don't need the pipeline. If they don't want you crossing their land, they have the right. They have earned the right to own that land and to determine what happens to it. How dare us take that right away? We've taken enough from them. They have suffered enough. And I don't care whether I agree with the pipeline or don't agree with the pipeline. That is not the point. That is Indian land. It is theirs. They shed the blood for it. If they don't want you crossing their land, daggone it, don't do it. They've earned that right. Now, you can call up and disagree with me about that if you want, but I feel very strongly about that. It's their land.
Next week, though.
Huh?
You'll have to do it next week, though, because we got 3 minutes left in the show, because I know the phones will probably start ringing.
Yeah, but it's their land, and I really mean that, because, and I don't. There's no debate about the pipeline. I don't need that debate. Don't enter here with me. and that's just me. This is just Rudy Howard talking. That debate has no place here. That's Indian land, and it's theirs. They have been allowed to be self-determinative on that land. They don't want you on it. You don't do it. Don't do it. It's theirs. They have a right to that. They shedded enough blood to earn that right. Do not take that away.
It's the last little piece of the earth they've got, and they are the people of the earth. They're the indigenous Americans.
Yes, they are.
Believe it or not, now, if you were born in the United States, we are Native Americans. They are indigenous Americans. They're some of the original people of the earth.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Should be honored and respected, too, because we took their stuff. We took all their land.
They're original environmentalists, too.
Yeah. Well, they know more about the earth.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
You talk to some Native American elders, and you'll be surprised what's to be learned.
Yeah.
Let's just start these conversations with people. Make friends.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I just want us to get, I try to do this each week. Get out of your cocoon and out of your bubble and think outside your own little dimension and think about the people that are outside of your dimension and how your actions affect them. That's important.
Plus, when you come out of the cocoon, you'll discover something amazing. You now have wings.
Yes. Beautiful. I like that. That was beautiful. Well, okay. For a guy that was tired, I sure did get wound up pretty good here tonight.
Sure fooled me. You don't even look tired. Look like you're going to go run the track now.
I'm going to go home and jump into bed and die.
Not literally, figuratively.
No, right, physically. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the African American scene. God bless and be safe. And I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American scene.
The African American scene with Rudy Howard, brought to you by Howard Insurance in Port St. Lucie. Check out the archives at WPSLTV.com and see Rudy there. Subscribe to WPSL.com when you go into YouTube. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie and WPSLTV.com webcaster to the world. It's 7 o'clock.